Hey guys, coming up on the show today, we're talking to Envision's Karthik Kannan to get an update on those Ally Solos glasses.
This is Double Tap, where blind people talk tech. Here's Stephen Scott and Shaun Preece.
And Shaun, today on the show, yes, we're going to be joined by Karthik Kannan, but I'm going to ask him about Meta and what's going on at Meta, because really that is the elephant in the room, quite frankly.
Do that, Stephen Scott. Not to a guest. You can't ask that. Make them feel uncomfortable.
Isn't that what we do here at Double Tap? We bring them on, we lull them on with a false sense of security. Yeah, come on, talk about your product. Sure. Now, answer these questions immediately.
Well, they're questions that are being asked out in the community. So.
Lots of questions being asked. And let's just dive right in, because our guest is here with us today, and we're going to bring him right in now. Karthik Kannan is back from Envision and joins us right now. Karthik, welcome back to Double Tap.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, Stephen. It's been a pretty, intense couple of months for us, but I'm excited to come back and talk on the show. Yeah.
I'm surprised you've been able to make time. It must have been busy.
Yes, it has been really busy. I think, we've we have the pre-orders are it went about 5 times better than what we imagined it would go, which kind of, gives us an early indication of the fact that, this is probably the right track, the right product, the right time, and definitely the right audience. So that is great. But then that also, made us quite scared, thinking that, holy shit, now there are these, thousands of people who are really looking forward to this stuff, and thousands more who are, looking forward to it. And now it's really freaking me out. And then I'm like, holy shit, now we have to
so going to do this. Yeah.
Now you're freaking out because you got to deliver on what you promised, Karthik. Is that what you just said?
No, I'm I have to now meet every expectation that people have about what this is in their heads. And we try to be, of course, as always, as honest as possible, give people updates on the progress, and constantly, do webinars and interactions and talk to the community, show them what we have. But, there's always this feeling of what I know what we do matters, and I know what we make matters, and what we put out there, it makes a difference. So there is a lot of responsibility given the phenomenal response we've had to the Ally Solos glasses so far. And it's just, I'm, very focused. Nowadays in Silicon Valley, there's a term called locked in, where you're just only thinking about the actual goal and nothing else. And that's just how I was. And we were talking about how, before the show, that even, spending time to trim my hair and my beard feels like too much because I'm not working at that moment, right?
Trying to justify how you look today. You look lovely, Karthik, I'm sure.
Thank you.
And listen, you can take that from 2 blind people to the bank. Okay. No, this is really interesting to get. I mean, it's interesting. We don't often hear that side of the story, if I'm honest. You've been very open here about how you're kind of feeling at this stage. We often hear at this point, the product's ready to go. We've, working hard, and of course you are. But, those nerves are there as well. Those nerves about delivery, about, making sure the customers are happy. It's real for you, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely very real because, we get one shot to do this right. And there is a constant, we know we're doing the right thing, but there's always a constant sense of am I doing enough, right? Can we do more? Are we not thinking about this? Are we not thinking about that? Is there, this thing with voiceover that we haven't really thought about, right? And we really want to polish it because I think, like I was saying, right, I think what we do matters, and people are really expecting to, get a bombastic product in their hands, and you have to really work a lot. And, the beginning and the end of making something is the easy part. When you launch something, there's always so much fanfare. Everybody has hopes and expectations, and there's so much optimism. And then there is this really messy middle, which is really where things get made, right? And that messy middle and navigating that messy middle, I've done that a couple of times in my life with the Envision app, the Envision glasses, with Ally. But, every time you go through it, it's almost like trial by fire. you have a lot of doubts, you're not sleeping, you're always drinking the most legal amount of caffeine the Starbucks can give you at any point in time.
At least you said caffeine.
Yeah.
So we don't make people nervous that maybe have placed pre-orders already or thinking about doing it. How are you going on the process? I know you've described your feelings on it and the nerves on it, but how is it going in actual production-wise?
Yeah, phenomenal. I think, we've made a lot of progress since the last couple of months. We've now gotten, I think a couple of weeks or 2-3 weeks ago, we published a video in terms of, how Ally was doing when it came to reading text. We've sped that process up by a lot. We now have all the major functionalities working on the Ally Solos glasses of the Ally app. There's not one functionality that's actually left out right now. Everything is packed into it. We have a really smooth pairing process. I'm really happy about that. So you can just literally pair the Ally Solos glasses like we actually promised, under 30 seconds. Just really put on the glasses, turn it on, and then go through it. We have a really smooth onboarding right now where you can actually learn the gestures on the Ally Solos glasses. And of course, all of this is 100% localized. So you can go through the Ally Solos glasses experience in the language that you prefer, in the language that Ally have a conversation in. We've done a lot in terms of stability and speed as well. So you can connect to the Ally Solos glasses faster. You can initiate calls faster. You can simply have a conversation back and forth. And we're going to be introducing a new backend for the Ally itself, which is a lot faster than what we currently have. So even if you don't have the Ally Solos glasses, this backend is going to really blow your mind because it is a lot faster than what we have. We're trying to benchmark this against the other major assistants like, ChatGPT and Gemini. And I'll publish those numbers soon on Mastodon on my page for people to see. But I think we really have a phenomenal response time. So I think, my feeling is that people are really going to love this. And people are going to appreciate the fact that, hey, you know what, this is something that works, that works as advertised. And I think the Solos team on their end have also been going through a lot with us. We've been iterating the product with them. We've been iterating the experience of like how it feels when you first open the box. Can people do this all by themselves? They've worked a lot on accessibility as well. And yeah, I think it's coming up. It's shaping up phenomenally well, So I think I'm happy about it in one sense, but I also, as somebody who's a maker, who's a builder, I also see parts where we can improve, and I'm constantly just chipping away, right? And we're making sure that we're all ready to ship this month.
It's no lie that when we played the video, we played one particular video we played here on the show of someone using, and I wasn't entirely sure of the context of this video. You're one of your many videos you actually published showing the glasses in action. I think in this occasion, the person was trying to identify milk out of 2 milk bottles or milk cartons.
That's Vanessa. Yeah,
Vanessa. Okay.
CMO.
And was that in a shop or was that in a home? What was that? What was the context of that?
It was in a kitchen, right?
Right.
And what we wanted to show was, so one of the things that I really, the trade-off that we wanted to make from the beginning was, a lot of people today feel like they can't trust AI. When they, even sighted people when they watch a video, right? When my mom watches videos, she watches videos and she's always asking me, is this real? Is this AI? Right? That's the feeling that people are living with today. And especially if you're blind or low vision, yes, AI has made phenomenal progress over the last, 3-4 years, undeniably. But I still think that, what our aim is to make AI reliable and not fast. Right. I think there is that trade-off that we wanted to make. So our focus is how reliable can we make the Ally Solos glasses overall, right? Without getting into the hype of, we're the fastest, most snappiest experience. I think people value that to some extent, but I think in our community, reliability, accuracy matters more, right?
So because it's interesting to me, Karthik, because you just jumped right ahead to the point the question I was going to ask you, which was at the time, Shaun mentioned it, and a number of our listeners mentioned it as well. They said that seemed slow, that the response seemed slow. Shaun, talk about your feelings on that
absolutely.
video.
Last time you were on, when you announced the Ally Solos, Karthik, you mentioned that people can try out the AI right now through the Ally app. And lots of people have, I'm sure. I don't know if you saw a spike in the downloads or use case on that.
Yeah.
But the thing that I hear back from people is the responsiveness of it. That is the criticism that I hear.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that you mentioned that you've worked on the back end of that to make it more snappy. But there's a fine line to walk there. Because my other criticism of AI, all AI, is that if I don't trust what it's saying, then it's not useful to me. Especially in the aspect of, I don't know, it's not just identifying those products in the fridge, but we use it for more than that, especially if you're reading a letter that's important and you're trying to get information off it. If I can't trust it, then I'm sorry, I'm just going to grab my phone and use an OCR app. So it's all about the convenience and the trust, but there is a fine line you've got to tread there between, is it going to take me 30 seconds to get a response, which sounds like nothing, but we're in the moment, it seems like an eternity, and I'm just not going to use it. So how do you walk that fine line between speed and accuracy?
Well, that's the thing, when we put the trade-off, or when we squarely say that reliability and accuracy is what we're going to put above and beyond everything else, and then kind of work backwards from there towards speed. I think that becomes, that's the way we do it, right? So we say, okay, when we want to read text, when Ally is looking to read text on the Ally Solos classes specifically, when it's looking to read text on anything, does it, we explicitly decide that, okay, this is the level of accuracy that we want to get. Now, today's AI, if you take any off-the-shelf AI that you can see, right? For example, Meta AI or, other AI assistants in general, you take them and you, the level of accuracy they have versus a regular OCR app, you probably have noticed yourself, it's like chalk and cheese, right? It's like it's night and day, basically. Yeah. And so what we decided was we want to have the same level of accuracy as our Ally, the Envision classes, on the Envision AI app. We want to have the same level of that OCR accuracy when it comes to reading text. But we want to not try and make it, really slow in the process, right? Like we say, okay, we don't want to go below this accuracy. Like we don't want to go below 99.5% accuracy, for example, right? And we say, how fast can we make it while not going below that threshold, right? And if it goes below that threshold, like what is that threshold that is okay for our customers to tolerate, right? And that's the way we think about it. So if we can get 99.5% accuracy with like 15 seconds, that's okay. But then if we try to push it, can we get it at like 10 seconds? Can we get it at 8 seconds? But then the moment we cross 8 seconds and the accuracy dropped from 99.5% to like 98% to 97%, that's where we pull back and say, okay, that's as far as we're going to go.
And what's driving that, Karthik? Is that the time it's taking from the request being made to getting the answer, that period in between? Because I know you talked about localized answers, but if I'm asking about milk, for example, or what these bottles of milk are, which one is which, or that kind of thing, is it still reaching out to the cloud to get that response? Is that where the delay comes?
Yes, it is reaching out to the cloud because, again, we tried using localized models to do this, right? For example, we have instant text on the Envision app and the Envision classes. We've got scan text that also works offline, but the online version always is much better, right? And what we have done over the last 3 weeks, ever since that video came out, is we figured out a way to parallelize a bunch of things. So instead of doing things sequentially, we now do things parallelly. So a simple, description of an image, which used to basically do this, sequential trip of you sending the image to the phone and then the phone to the cloud and then getting the response back and all of that stuff. We figured out a way to parallelize that really quickly so that the response just, is a lot snappier than what it is for descriptions of images or like reading short pieces of text and so on. And for scan text and for reading text, we've also worked on the same parallelization process. So now things happen in parallel, which means it means more cost to us in the short term, but it translates to a better user experience. So instead of you having to wait for 15 seconds, now you can wait for about 8 seconds because we have thrown more, processing power at the problem, right? And our bet is that over a period of time, people notice the fact that, hey, we are snappy, but we're also reliable. And that helps, more people to purchase the glasses, and more people to purchase an Ally Pro subscription, which in the long term will help us subsidize the cost of processing that we spent, in making the initial bunch of users really happy.
Yeah, it's so interesting to me that, the video came out 3 weeks ago. And you've done that work in that period. I mean, Shaun, the amount of the speed of which we develop here is incredible, isn't it? The way that we develop, the way you guys develop.
We develop.
Yeah, we do.
That's right. The way we're working on AI,
I can develop my
it.
stomach size in that time, I guess, but it goes the other way. The numbers go up.
Exactly. AI is just it's going at breakneck speed. I'm wondering, would it be possible to give that option of accuracy or speed back to the user at all, as in some sort of slider or quick response or deep thinking, or is that a low level coding at the kernel of the code that you have to decide and nail down?
We can do that actually. So that's something that a lot of other AI assistants do, right? They give you the option of like deep thinking and the option of just quick responses. That's something that we can do. What we're trying to do in the first version is we're trying to offer a simple experience. The main goal with the Ally Solos glasses is you put them on, you turn them on, you start a call with Ally, and then you can just simply go about your task. And Ally is always there on the glasses, waiting to hear from you. And that's where we want to keep it for now. But yes, in the future, we'll definitely offer people the experience to toggle between, hey, okay, give me the most accurate answer you possibly can for this particular question. Or I want to prioritize speed, but I'm hoping that most people will be happy with the speed part because it's going to be mostly very accurate, except in some instances where, for example, you're looking to read something like charts or tables or figures and stuff like that, or equations. Those require more accuracy, more thinking, and those are things that we probably will offer people in the Pro subscription, saying, hey, you know what, you can just toggle a button and say, now give me the most
I don't mind
detailed
waiting.
response.
Yeah. So if I subscribe to the Pro, I could finally read that eye chart when I go to the eye hospital.
Oh, you could cheat.
That'll be a first.
Yeah,
That'll be worth them.
Yes, I can read it, no problem at all.
E-I-O-U. Well,
can I get my driving license now?
We're focusing on the AI aspect here, and we've talked about the potential of AI, and you obviously think you're at a level now where these glasses are going to be a real useful tool for us. For me, with the glasses that I've used so far, it's not so much the AI. It's nice to have, but I don't rely on it. It's more the other aspects of that are tailored to us, such as the voice assistants or the integration of other apps. How have you done with that? If we leave AI where it is for now, how about the extra features such as video calling or integration with other apps?
Yeah, so we are definitely in talks with I think. Just to maybe give you an update from where we were last time, I think we've been having a bunch of back and forth calls with Aira. Be My Eyes is still something that's, we're still in the very early days of doing something like that with them. And we're working through the partnerships. I think the first version that will ship this month to customers, that will not have Aira or Be My Eyes or any other third-party integrations at the moment, but they all will be made available to users as an update quickly, right? So we just want to get the core Ally experience right. For now, given the limited bandwidth of the team, we want to try and pick and choose the ones that that are hard to do. And then, so these problems we're trying to solve in version 1 are hard to do and take more time. Whereas things like the Aira integration are easy to do and they take more time, right? So we want to try and do the easy to do, take more time stuff as a quick update. But they will definitely come and they will be made available to all users, regardless of whether they're a pro user or a non-pro user. Anyone everyone will be able to like take advantage of Ally on the Solos classes, sorry, Aira or other integrations on the Solos classes soon. Yeah.
Can I just clarify that though, because I just want to be absolutely certain what I'm hearing here. So you're saying that the Aira, for example, you say will come. Are you certain of that, or are you saying that rather it might come? Which is it? Is it? Okay. I mean, with Be My Eyes and all the others. I know how our audience listen to every word you say very closely, Karthik. So
it is important.
It is important, absolutely. But I just want to make sure people are getting it clear.
Yeah, I am about 80% certain that Aira will come, right? So that means it's a strong yes. From both teams, it's a strong yes. We are working on it. It's just a matter of bandwidth and priorities on both ends, so we are also really busy with shipping the Ally Solos classes and stuff. With the other partners, it's still early stages, so I'd say about 50%, right? So we're still at the discussion stage. We're still trying to figure out where does this experience fit, and I'd probably put it at and certain apps like Be My Eyes and things like that. It's still a lot earlier than that. It's a little lesser than 50%, right? I'd probably put it around 20%, 10-20%, because again, with Be My Eyes, their focus is more on the enterprise side with businesses, and I think they have a different roadmap on that front. Our focus is more on the community, on the Ally Solos classes, the hardware and wearables. They've got partnerships. We also have partnerships in the works. So all of this put together, I think with certain providers, we'll be able to bring that a lot faster. So definitely Aira is on the cards. We're talking to a couple of other folks as well. Whereas some partners at Be My Eyes, they might or might not come because of different priorities on our product roadmaps, right? But we're always open to it. And if people in the community want to see these integrations, they can, reach out to the companies and ask them to work with us as much as we reach out to them and say, hey, we'd like to work with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm interested in, I don't know how much you can tell, what is the problem here with getting these partnerships going? Because isn't it all about getting users onto your service? In the case of Be My Eyes, in the case of Aira, no matter what the hardware platform is, how we access the service, what is the obstacles here? And this may all be business and I don't know anything about, or whatever the partnership rules may be. But you think if I can get more people using, let's say, Aira, for example, that benefits Aira. The fact that they're using your hardware to do that, should that matter? I think people should be jumping for joy to be able to expand their services, surely.
They are, I think it's a matter of resources, right? Oftentimes people forget the fact that Envision is a small company, we're about 20-25 people, and we're all based out of the Netherlands, and it's a pretty small company. Despite how much progress we put and how much we ship out there, we punch a lot above our weight, and that's also the case with other companies as well, right? If you look at Aira, Be My Eyes, they're all small companies. They all have limited bandwidths, and so given that we all have limited bandwidths, we have to try and prioritize things, right? So it's about hey, can I get 5,000 users like this, or can I get 10,000 users like this, right? And we all think in those numbers, in those terms. So with Aira, I think, we've had a long history of working with them and a long partnership with them. So it makes more sense for us to work together and get this out of the door. With other partners, we're still working with them. We're still figuring out our priorities. So it's all a matter of bandwidth. It's how much, developer resources and other resources do you have to commit to this versus other things, right? So we have to constantly keep making that battle of okay, I can spend 3 weeks working on the Aira integration, but can I spend that same amount of time polishing how fast and responsive Ally gets?
Yeah, you want to get your product right first, I guess, right? Before we start integrating
it's about those competing priorities, and so we have to constantly keep making that trade-off. Which is why, we definitely will work with these partners. We see a lot of value in them. They see a lot of value in tapping into our community, and everybody wins. This partnership stuff is no brainer. Everybody wants to do it. Everybody wins. But it's always a matter of the fact that accessibility tech companies are still small companies.
Yeah.
We don't have the resources of like an Apple or a Google, and even they take forever for sometimes with certain integrations.
I think
we've seen that already. Yeah.
I think the big issue here for a lot of people will be that they may well be buying these glasses. This might be their only ability to buy these kind of glasses, and they're not going to be buying everything that's in sight. They're not going to.
You've got to make your choice.
Yeah, you got to buy something, right? And you're putting your money down, and you want to know that if I'm putting my money in this product, it's going to deliver, and it's going to deliver on the core functionalities. Now, I think you've been very clear on what those core functionalities are. Obviously, the last interview, which people can go and listen to, you talked about the other features coming down the line as well. For example, a lot of the features that are in the existing Envision AI app, instant text and detailed reading and all of that would come into the glasses, but not at launch. Those will come in down the line. So it's important people know that. One thing I want to come back to, though, and it kind of comes out of that video we watched as well. And we got comment on it, and we talked about it quite a bit as well, as the verbosity of the glasses. Now, I know that with Ally, the whole thing is personality, right? It's all about personality. It's about, and you can define that personality to a degree as well. Can you choose a personality which is boring individual who just gives one or two word answers? I mean, could you be that specific? And I ask because there are people out there who are just wanting, it's this kind of milk. It's semi-skimmed milk, or it's not semi-skimmed. They don't want to know the beautiful carton it's in, or they don't want to know the flowery detail, where other people will want that flowery detail. Are the controls available within the Ally app or within the glasses to be able to do that?
Oh, definitely. I think you nailed it, right? What we showed there was Vanessa using her Ally to get a description of the carton, and she likes it a bit more detailed. She wants to get to know what the carton looks like,
and she did ask for that. She did ask for that in the video, so that's
right.
I was critical of that description until I re-listened to it, and she did ask for the detail. Give me detail.
Exactly.
So, that's right.
Yeah. So that's the thing, right? So we were trying to tell people, because the most important thing here is to let people know that Ally, unlike other AI assistants, can be very heavily customized. So when you say something like answer in one word, I can't tell you how many lines of prompt engineering went into like making sure that it respects the fact that you want it to only speak one word or one, or if possible, I would even let it just do a grunt.
Could you work on Stephen and get that happening with Stephen?
Yeah, just have a 30-minute rant. Stephen version. Oh no! Oh, you want the rant version? Yeah, okay. Well, that could work. All right.
Describe the milk and an hour rant later. Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what I think about milk. Cows. Don't get me started.
Oh god. Yeah, so the thing is, you can definitely customize Ally, and that you can make it more verbose, less verbose. You can do whatever you like to do with it. And I think given that this has been a feedback from the community, we will put out videos that show a less verbose Ally. Like I have a sulking teenager as an ally. I'm going to use that next time.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, like a goth sulking teenager. So yeah.
Okay, so I have to bring up the rather large elephant that wandered into the room earlier in September when the Meta Connect event came along. And we all watched the Meta Connect event, and we were sitting there watching it going, this is very interesting, got all this new hardware. And
we were there, actually.
Oh, were you there?
We were there last year. We were there this year as well. Yeah.
Right. And after that, or around that time, you put out a toot on Mastodon. And let me read this to you. The new Meta Ray-Ban hardware is exciting, but it's really not much without an SDK that developers can build on. Meta uses Llama models, which are pretty outdated. Developers can bring in far better software to this ecosystem. I really pushed hard within Meta's teams to open this up to developers. It's probably not going to ship until Apple and Google come out with their glasses and SDK combo, at which point Meta will play catch-up. And then, within hours, an SDK was announced.
You triggered them.
It worked. So I just want to kind of get your feelings from then, from sending that message out on social media to when the SDK was announced, and has that changed your view? And what does that mean for Envision and Meta Ray-Ban, or any, frankly, smart glasses from Meta?
Yeah. So I think that's, to me, when I heard about the early access, kit, I was also a little excited because I was like, hey, you know what? This is something that that is finally like a bit of an SDK, because my experience with Meta and the teams have been more on the R&D, on the glasses R&D side. We did a big partnership with them last year on the R&D side for a slightly more futuristic pair of glasses that probably will ship in about a year or two in the Meta Ray-Ban. The stuff that they showed there with the with the 3D audio and all of that stuff will probably ship in a year or two on the glasses. And so I've been working with them, and I just started working with the Meta Ray-Ban product team, and we will have early access to the SDK as well. So it was like right after I saw the Meta Connect event, I fired off like a quick tweet, yes, but also I did write to the folks at the Meta like product team as well, and mentioning that, hey, we'd love to be able to get early access to it. And then we met the folks as well from the Meta Ray-Ban team. We've been in touch with them, and so we will have early access to the SDK. Now, what nobody knows of, including the partners that were mentioned and stuff like that on stage, and the ones like us who are not, who are more like working with them behind the scenes, is we don't know how much of the SDK or how much of the capabilities of the glasses are actually going to be exposed to developers, right? And I think Meta is kind of right in waiting it out, because all attention is on them always, right? Like if Apple puts out something and they put out an SDK, people aren't going to bat too much of an eyelid, because Apple has always been like a developer platform. They've always been the platform that has housed developers. They're the most popular developer platform in the world. Whereas somebody like a Meta is just now getting into the game of building apps and letting developers onto their platform. So they're rightfully, a bit more cautious. They take their time and to vet the right people. We went through a vetting process with Meta for almost 2.5 years. My first interaction with the Meta folks was in like 2023, and from that point to getting early access and to like have a product or getting access to the SDK, it took about 2.5 years. So they will take time. My only concern was I would like the SDK to be actually giving developers access to the real capabilities of the hardware, right? I don't want to, I don't know how Meta might be able to do this, but I would not like to be just another, hey, Meta, can you do this kind of a thing, right? I think, that really restricts the ability for developers to like really go out and access what the system can do. I would love to have something like, like just giving people the option to switch out, like assistants if required, or just have like multiple apps on the glasses and people could just invoke them using a simple shortcut instead of having to like, only build applets kind of single use applications. I would like to build a full-fledged lifestyle application on the Meta Ray-Ban glasses, and that's what I'm trying to pitch to them, and that's what we're trying to really get. I think someone like an Apple or Google have the bandwidth, the infrastructure, and they've been doing it for years. They've been building on Android and iOS for years, and they can safely let developers access all these parts of their system. They have all the guardrails in place, which is why I mentioned something like an Apple or a Google might be putting that stuff out first. And I'm afraid Meta might have to play catch up. But the early access is definitely a good sign. Like the earlier version of the SDK, from what I've seen so far, and the team that I have interacted with, it seems like a pretty good. I would say I think they're on the right track.
And you obviously had no idea that this was coming down the track, right? Because that message you put out on social suggested that you were kind of wishing for it, and then suddenly, boom, there it is. But like you say, there's still a lot of question marks around what that looks like and what access you'll have.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to me from what I've read, and certainly going by what the partners, and we've spoken to HumanWare and Microsoft on the show, and they've both said, in essence, what they understand is it's an extension of, using the glasses camera and audio as an extension to your smartphone. It's not It's not an application-based system like you did with Google Glass, right? Ultimately, where you had all built directly into the glasses. This is an extension of the glass of the smartphone.
Exactly. Like I was, I want more like what Apple has done with the Vision Pro, right? Like, they let developers build on top of the Vision Pro, and they've now subsequently opened up the Vision Pro platform more and more and more over the years. And I would like to see something like that, because that's when developers can fully express their creativity. That's when they can fully express or build a product that is useful, right, to people. I think what we want to do is we want to build something that the community really likes, and can find truly useful. And to do that, we need to not have too many restrictions and too many entries and exits. Like we shouldn't go through multiple orifices to be able to, like get access to certain system stuff, right? And that will take time. Like that's why I am excited. I'm also more cautiously excited, I would say.
Cautiously excited. I tell you what, it's so frustrating. All it needs to do is that Google and Apple just give us the option to select the external camera to use with whatever app. Like in iOS 26 right now, you can now choose the audio input. Go to your control center, and for whatever app you're using, you control what audio, what microphone it uses. Why can't we do that with a camera? Once you turn on your glasses, whatever they may be, go to Control Center, choose which camera any app is using, and then it frees up all the developers. It makes it easier for the end user. I don't understand. It's just, from an end user point of view, it's just frustrating.
Yeah, I think, cameras are still one of the last vestiges of privacy that we have in today's world, right? Like when I take a picture of you on my phone, like you can hear the camera shutter sound, and if it's a sighted person, they can see the fact that you're holding a phone and you're like taking a picture of something. There's the LED lights and stuff like that. I think companies are cautious, and I feel like, they won't make it a general purpose availability thing, like where you can just connect any camera to your, have a different camera input. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, because
I get what you're saying there, but they've built a camera into the phone that I'm carrying with me everywhere. The cameras are now much more available than they ever were before. Everyone's carrying a camera in their pocket. To say it's privacy, because if the Apple came back and said, well, it's all about your privacy, well, take the camera out of the phone then. If you're going to put your money where your mouth is, or make it more usable to me and being able to choose.
I want to ask about the Solos
I'm annoyed.
glasses. Oh, good for you. I want to ask about the Solos glasses, though, because I wonder what's the difference between what the SDK offers with Meta and what you're doing with Ally Solos. What's the difference there?
It's just who is available first, right? I think who ships. I think with Meta, we've been kind of on the wings, waiting to see something happen, not just with Meta, I think with all big tech companies that we were talking to, that we're really reaching out to and having a conversation with. We've been waiting in the wings for the last couple of years, trying to see who's going to ship first. And there's always as a matter of like, we're going to be putting this out, 2 months down the line. Oh yeah, this thing got delayed now. And we probably will do this in Q1 of next year, in Q2 of next year, right? And rightfully so. Again, not throwing shade to any of these companies, because I know they're well-meaning, hardworking people. I know them personally, and they're friends, and I know they work very hard on this. And it takes a lot longer to put that out than they do. But for us, it was a matter of like, hey, we're a startup, and this revolution's happening, and we feel like we need to contribute our thoughts on this. Like, we need to put out something that we believe in, right? And the Ally Solos glasses is already shipping. They have shipped, 2 versions of these glasses before. They're shipping now. They have a very solid roadmap. And we thought, what? We have to jump into the fray right now, because like I said, there's a really interesting thing happening with smart glasses, and we thought if not Meta or Google or Apple, there's a little company in Hong Kong that's doing phenomenal work. They've been around for close to a decade. So what's wrong in partnering with them, right? So that's the reason why we decided to go with Ally Solos.
Yeah,
because they're just in the market.
You know where I'm going with this, because ultimately, people are currently looking at the Meta Ray-Ban offering, seeing the new upgraded hardware, seeing the Oakley Vanguards, and even seeing the Ray-Ban display with the screen reader, and still many question marks around what that's going to be like and how useful that's going to be. But I would say for a lot of blind people, we're looking at what I'm wearing right now, which is the Ray-Ban Gen 2s. They're looking at the Oakleys. and they're saying, okay, this is a very, or maybe not a very affordable, but it's a mainstream piece of tech that I can go out and buy. I can do lots of different things with. I, might be able to access down the line seeing AI on here. There's no talk of Aira, but we know that Be My Eyes obviously has a partnership with that, and on it goes. And they'll be looking at options, and they'll be saying, okay, so I've done my pre-order for these Ally Solos, but if Envision are going to end up on the Meta Ray-Bans, why do I buy these? That's going to be the question mark, because again, it goes back to that point about, look, if I'm going to buy these, I want to think long-term here. So is this the challenge of the continually evolving AI world that we're in, the continually evolving new wearable world, that you're just trying to keep up? Is that the challenge, or do you think that actually people are better off with the Ally Solos than hanging around waiting for a Meta solution from you?
So when we first sort of came across the Ally Solos glasses, we wanted to kind of, look at it from a more objective point of view and ask if this is a good piece of hardware to begin with, right? In the past, we have come across smart glasses that, that had very similar specs to the Ray-Ban Metas or the other mainstream glasses that we have tested out internally at Google and other companies as well, right? And it didn't feel like it was up there. And to me, Solos is a very good answer to what the Meta Ray-Ban glasses have, or what Google might put out in the near future. Of course, it doesn't have things like the display and all of that stuff. But I don't think the community is really concerned so much about, like, oh, do I have a heads-up display?
Yeah, we don't care.
I don't think we're bothered about that right
exactly, now. Right? So we wanted to have a great piece of we wanted to have great cameras, good audio, good microphones, and a build that is sturdy, right? For example, the water rating on these glasses are on par with the Gen 2 of the Ray-Ban Metas as well, right? So the Ally Solos offers the same water resistant rating and dust resistant rating as the Meta Ray-Ban glasses, and can we really bring the full functionality of Ally to these glasses, right? I think these are the 5 things that we really look at. And so from that perspective, I think anyone who buys a pair of Ally Solos glasses today will get the full functionality of Ally that's available today and in the future. Whereas with major companies like Meta and Google or Apple, it's a big question mark as to when these things will ship and in what shape will they ship, right? I think that's what I'm more concerned about. So they will come out with an SDK because they have to put that out. But how much freedom will developers actually have to bring the full capability of their apps onto these platforms on day one, right? I think, someone like an Apple or a Google, they're still, someone who's really had a decade's worth of experience, like letting developers build on their platforms. They're still only going to be bringing stuff out in 2026, mid to late 2026, right? So I think it will happen over the next couple of years. More companies will let developers access more of their tools on the platform. But I think it'll take some time. And if people want a pair of glasses that is fully accessible today, I completely believe the Ally Solos glasses is the answer to that. And that's what I believe, right? And I think that's the kind of product that we're building. That, if you want a pair of smart glasses that look mainstream, that are little mainstream, you can use this as a regular pair of headphones, take pictures with it, do all the stuff. But you also want it to work with an accessible AI assistant that can take pictures for you, read documents, do all of that stuff. Yes, the Ally Solos is the answer. And when we bring on Aira and other partners, navigation partners and stuff like that onto the glasses as well eventually, then this becomes a full suite of accessibility, glasses that a Meta or an Apple or a Google might have a year and a half down the line. But that's a purely, it's a decision up to the consumer.
Yeah, and I mean, look, again, it's very important we say this, that we've spoken to Microsoft and HumanWare, and HumanWare in particular have said, look, we're very early days at dipping our toe into this. We're interested. We want to work on some kind of navigation, AI navigation tool, but, that is very early days. And Microsoft would not be pinned at all on when
they're all very vague. How much functionality from the Seeing AI app do you actually are you going to be able to use on the, is it just going to be short text recognition, or is it going to be more than that? they're all very vague about what actual functionality is going to be available through the glass.
Because the thing is, Karthik, I think there's a flip side, isn't there? Which is that if you were to sit and wait for a Meta or an Apple or a Google, you would be criticized for not innovating, for not trying to get where is this Envision product on glasses? Why are you not on every product? So you can't really win. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You've got to make a move. And of course, I think it's important to say as well, and you can tell us this, how long the partnership has taken with Solos to actually get the glasses out there. Because I think it's good for people to understand that this isn't just an overnight decision. You don't just say on a Monday, let's get it on glasses, Tuesday, there it is.
So we started working with Solos at the beginning of the year, and we wanted to and I think we wanted to work with someone who would give us the most amount of freedom to build the product that we wanted to build without having to constrain ourselves or put ourselves in a box and say, we can only ship this feature, or you have to say this particular phrase to trigger, Ally, and it can only do these things. So we wanted to, and so the Solos team and us, we worked together before announcing this for a few, months remotely. And then I spent another 3 weeks, in Hong Kong with the team in their factory, with their engineers, sitting side by side, working through the loopholes, really getting 100% guarantee that, okay, whatever we have in mind that we want to build can be built with the Ally Solos. And then we decided to launch the product. So for companies like Envision, whichever platform gives us the most freedom, we'll end up going on to that particular platform, right? And so that's the thing. So I really would like to work with big tech mainstream companies. I think they have phenomenal reach. They have great hardware. But at the end of the day, when you're buying a pair of their glasses without any developers building on top of it, without having your favorite apps on it, it is a really nice piece of hardware, but it is also limited in that sense. And I think the big companies understand that. How much freedom will they actually give developers to actually fully build what we have in mind? That's a big question, because sometimes sometimes the apps that we might build might go against their business model, might even compete with their own apps. So there's a lot of those things also that they have to consider, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. You've always said that you're open to all hardware. You're almost hardware agnostic in some respects, right? It's more a case of ultimately, is this the right hardware for us? Can we make it work for us? I imagine if the rumors are true, and we've heard this rumor that Apple may be moving away from Vision Pro, although not so much Vision Pro necessarily, but Vision Air, and instead moving towards glasses. These are latest rumors coming out from Bloomberg's Mark Gurman. If that's the case, if they are moving towards glasses, I mean, if Apple were to come around next year and with a product that was glasses, not a headset, not a big bulky ski mask thing, but in fact a pair of glasses, would you be saying to your development team, right, guys, come on, let's get this app built. Come on, it's on Apple now. We've got to do this. I mean, is that fair? I mean, because surely that's where that's where a lot of development's going to go, right? When Apple do it, everyone's going to jump, and Google as well, to be fair.
For sure, I think Ally can run on any platform. So the one of the really key decisions we made, and we spent an obscene amount of time trying to get this right in the beginning, which also kind of, we spend more time on this than anything else, is to make sure that Ally can basically run on any current and future piece of hardware as easily as possible. So there is less effort that we will have to put to port Ally to a new platform whenever that comes out tomorrow, right? Because that's the bet that we were making. The smart glasses will go mainstream. Whether Apple will come out with something next year, that's a big question, because having spoken to a few of the current current accessibility team folks and people in the who've worked on at Apple, or been very close in the developer community, I think they will come out with a version, but I don't think it will be like a Ray-Ban style pair of glasses. I don't know if they're going to be coming out next year with it. And again, when they do come out, I don't know if it's going to have like 100% of the capabilities that I would expect it. Like, for example, when the Vision Pro came out, they didn't give developers access to the camera on the Vision Pros. The goddamn device had like, 6 cameras or something.
Yeah.
But
I know. So
developers
frustrating.
couldn't access a single one of them, right? So yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of wait and watch. And so for me, it's like, what's the most accessible pair of smart glasses I can build today? Like, who is going to enable that for me to happen? That's the question we asked at the beginning of the year. And the answer for us at that time was like Solos, and it still is Solos. We're talking to a couple of other hardware companies as well, a couple of other glasses manufacturers also. But yeah, like, I think, most of them, like, the thing with hardware is it's very difficult. A lot of people say they're going to ship, but then they take their time. I think we also know of other glasses that are also, similar glasses that similar to Ally Solos that were launched around season time that are still going to take another couple of more months to ship, right? Because it is hard. Who?
He's trying. I'll give him that, Karthik.
I'm not going to fall for that bait, People know.
On the exclusive dirt. Okay. Very good.
He just wants to press the breaking news button, that's all.
Yeah. Yeah, but no shade to them, because it is actually very hard to do this stuff. It's very, very hard to ship hardware. Like, we were quietly doing this behind the scenes, like with Solos for like almost a year, right? And that's why we're able to ship this month. But I know that, like it's pretty difficult to do it for both big and small companies.
And you're 9...
I totally understand. Sorry,
Shaun, go for it. I'll re-edit that.
I totally understand that, and I get the developer or the manufacturer point of view, absolutely. But, from an end user point of view, and we're, Stephen and I are end users at the end of the day, and we do see that question out there quite a lot. We don't mean to make you feel uncomfortable or attack you in any way, but you do see that question out there saying, okay, I've pre-ordered the Ally Solos, but now I've got this news. And of course, there's a lot of talk about other smart glasses as well. And people are asking, which way do I go? Because as Stephen mentioned earlier, for a lot of people, this is a one purchase thing. We can't buy every single set out there. So I think it is down to you to, sort of state your case, why you think. And I think you've done that during this. Yeah. So, I thank you for that.
To really summarize, it's about like, can I have a mainstream hardware? Can I have good hardware that I can also use with, my favorite apps, right? That can also be useful to me. Like, it's about which piece of hardware is going to be most useful to you. That's the way to think about it, right? Like, when you go out to buy any product, it's not just about what the rest of the world is buying. It's about like, is that product really actually useful to you? And what does useful to you mean is something you have to define. Are you a content creator who is going to be posting on social media, who is going to be really like, shooting stuff all the time? Yes, then a certain pair of smart glasses are ideal for you. But are you just somebody who's like, hey, you know what? I'm somebody who's like at home or at work or at school, and I just want a lightweight, not so, weird looking pair of glasses that I can use to like, read text or like to do other things, like to recognize faces, get descriptions of what's happening around me, all of that stuff. Then the Ally Solos glasses is the right fit for you. Because with the Ally Solos glasses, you get a little bit of what the mainstream glasses offer, right? You can still use them to make phone calls. You can still use them to access Siri. You can still use them to like, record voice notes, and you can still take pictures with them. You can do all of that stuff. And you also get Ally, which basically does a whole bunch of like, assistive technology stuff for you. So, it helps you read text. It does a whole bunch of things like getting you descriptions, helping you find which milk carton you're holding in your hand or whatever, right? So it's about deciding what is more useful for you. So I believe that, the hardware that we have right now is the best hardware that does both. It does offer you the mainstream stuff, not all of it. And, maybe you don't need all of it. Maybe you don't need to record like 3K or 4K video all day, every day, right? You're not like a 19-year-old kid in a skateboard park, trying to just like, shoot reels on Instagram.
Not many blind ones of them, I imagine.
Take those Ray-Ban Gen 2s off, Stephen. You're a disgrace.
I'm a disgrace to humanity.
No, but I meant more like if that's what you're going for, yes, you have a pair of glasses for you. But if you want a regular pair of glasses that do this stuff to some extent, like take pictures or like make video, like make calls or whatever, and you also have want an accessible AI assistant that just does things for you, then the Ally Solos glasses is genuinely the best particular product in the market, which is actually going to ship this month.
Well,
okay.
Not only do we want to say thank you for coming on and answering the questions, because it's tough. I know it's tough to come on and answer these questions.
Yeah, you guys always like have the most. When I go on other podcasts, it's a bit like it's like, oh yeah, I'm a cakewalk, and then I come to Double Tap, right. and you guys are asking me all kinds of questions, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I need to prep beforehand because people listen to your show, and people are like, wait, Karthik said this on Double Tap, and Steven asked him this question, and he said this, and now you're reading my Mastodon tweets, and I'm like a little scared. I'm like, oh my god, should I be?
Well, it is, but you know what? That is, I think that's why people come to us, because we know we first off, we appreciate you coming on, because that's the thing. You've got to be up for the conversation, and you are, and we appreciate that. That is really important because it's valuable to the audience that we are talking to, our audience who need to know what's going on when they're paying their money down. They want to know what they're getting for that money, and it's really important.
For sure,
you can give that information.
Sure,
I just want to finish up on one point. You and I, or you and us actually, as an Envision and Double Tap, are sharing something this year. I don't know if you're aware of this, but we share a birthday.
Yeah,
you're 9.
Yeah,
and so are we.
We're turning 9.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Are we having a party together?
Let's have an Envision and Double Tap party, and we promise we'll not bring up your Mastodon toots anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it private now, the account. God, I should. Yeah, like I said, I'm just having the most legal amount of caffeine available in the Netherlands at any given day.
Thank goodness for that.
And we're really polishing that software as much as we can. So I'm excited. Yeah,
we look forward to trying them out. Definitely.
Thanks, Karthik.
No, for sure. We'll get you guys a pair when we can.
Yeah, we do ask the tough questions here, Shaun. But I think it's important we ask these questions, right? These are the questions people are asking out there. We're seeing it across Facebook groups. We're getting emails in, people who are concerned, people who are, wondering where they put their money. That's always the thing. Where do we put our money?
There's just a lot of options out there now, right? And maybe some not actually available to us, but being promised to us. So, yeah, as we kept saying throughout, it's that a lot of people have got to make one choice. They put their money down once, and they want to make sure they've got an informed decision on that. So, yeah, I do thank Karthik again, though, for being so honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, get in touch. Tell us your thoughts. You can, of course, get in touch in all the usual ways. Feedback at doubletaponair.com. You can leave us a WhatsApp message as well. 1-613-481-0144. Of course, you can check out all our contact details and all of our phone numbers as well at doubletaponair.com/contact. That is it for today, though. We're back with another one tomorrow. We'll dive into your feedback and plenty more exciting news from the community, including some big news from Google. We'll get into that tomorrow. Thank you, Shaun.
Thank you. Bye-bye.